We know that one component of a storage account is Azure Blobs. There are others as well. You got files, queues, and tables. But blobs are again of different types. A blob can be any type and a file size. Azure Storage offers three types of blobs. There's a block blob, page blob, and append blob. You specify the blob type when you create the blob. The default is a block blob, but we need to understand each type individually. Let's talk about block blob. A block blob consists of blocks of data assembled to make a blob. Most scenarios using blob storage employ block blobs. So this is more of a block storage. A block blobs are ideal for storing text and binary data like files, images, and videos. What is an append blob? Append blobs are also like block blobs, but they are made up of blocks, but they are optimized for append operations. When does an append operations happen? It happens when you're logging, when you're writing events one after another. So append blobs are optimized for logging scenarios. Page blobs. Page blobs can be up to 8 terabytes in size. They are very efficient for frequent read-write operations. And when does read-write operations happen very frequently? On a virtual machine. So Azure virtual machines will use page blobs as operating system disks and data disks. Remember that once the blob has been created, its type cannot be changed. So you can also upload a local file to a blob storage using PowerShell commands. There are lots of blob upload tools that we use as on today. Administrators love to use AZ-Copy. Now, AZ-Copy is a very easy to use command line tool for Windows and Linux that will copy data to and from blob storage across containers and also across storage accounts. There is another library which is called as Azure Storage Data Movement Library. It is a .NET library for moving data between Azure storage services. So the AZ copy utility is built with the data movement library. Now, if you got lots and lots of data, you will use Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory supports copying data to and from blob storage by using the account key, shared access signature, service principal, or even managed identities for Azure Resource Authentication. There's another service called as Blob Fuse. Blob Fuse is a virtual file system driver for blob storage. So you can use Blob Fuse to access your existing blob data in your storage account. This is specifically for Linux file systems. Azure Data Box Disk is a service for transferring on-premise data to blob storage when you got large data sets or when you have network constraints to upload data over the wire unrealistically. You can use Azure Data Box Disk to request for SSDs, which are solid state disks from Microsoft. So you can then copy your data to those disks and then ship them back to Microsoft. Microsoft will then upload it to your blob storage. This is called as Azure Data Box Disk. There's another service from Azure which is called as Azure Import and Export. This import export service provides a way to export large amounts of data from your storage to hard drives that you provide and that Microsoft then ships back to you with your data. Of course, we discussed about Azure Storage Explorer. You can always install the Azure Storage Explorer utility to transfer data back and forth from your Azure Storage account to your on-premise infrastructure.